Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
We are in the closing moments of the halftime break at tonight's national championship game inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Ohio State ahead by 2 touchdowns at the half, leading 21-7. Again, those live numbers before we get back underway in the third quarter. Ohio State gets the football first. The Buckeyes a live 20.5-point favorite. Live total stands at 49.5. Our closing numbers pregame, 8.5-point spread in favor of the Bucks, a total at 45 and a hook. Kev, as we are about to start the third quarter there in the ATL, a closing thought from you and maybe a bet that you have made on how you see the second half beginning.
Yeah, the one bet that I made was this drive for Ohio State to not hit the Notre Dame 20. I think that the way Notre Dame has played and been able to adjust, they should be able to get a stop here. Ultimately, while Ohio State has been good, this is a little bit this is over anyone. Yeah. For what you should expect against this Notre Dame defense. And Freeman has allowed only 1 first down on the opening. It's been 3 and out, basically, in the first drive that he's, the other side has had there. I will say, if it's a successful Ohio State drive, I think Jeremiah Smith is involved. I think you get plus 240 for him to have a reception of 10 or more yards, minus 125 to catch a pass. If this drive goes well for Ohio State, I would look towards Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, and I would look Will Howard 6-1 anytime touchdown. If you think Ohio State's going to score, we saw Judkins have 2. If they utilize the RPO game down by the goal line, I think Will Howard has an opportunity to score. Knowing how he had an opportunity last week and tripped, but right,
yeah, he did.
So this styles make fights, right? And now, Notre Dame's been knocked down twice, you could say. What do they do to get back up? Again, I'm still hoping on fireworks in the second half. We're sitting at 28 total points. We need basically 3 touchdowns and a field goal to get it.
I'll say, you see the clip of Marcus Freeman at halftime talking to his guys. He's like, the one possession game, we have the ball. And it was a great speech. It was very motivating. But also, factually, all accurate information, that's a pretty easy sell. Down 2 possessions, they have the ball, not as easy. I do wonder what that message was for Marcus Freeman, because I know I don't feel great at this moment.
It starts with a stop. I think everybody watching this game tonight with rooting interest, with betting interest, is still hoping for a competitive football game, as we saw in each of our 2 college football playoff semifinals. Ohio State does come out throwing on its first play from scrimmage in the third quarter. An incomplete pass targeted for Jeremiah Smith. Just the second incompletion for Will Howard throughout this game. A nearly perfect opening half. 14 of 15 for a $144, 2 touchdowns, 6 rushing attempts for 26 yards. The 4 that got beyond the line of scrimmage picked up a first down for Ohio State. And, Lisi, that was interesting to see what the Buckeyes would look to do offensive philosophy to start this third quarter. Now back on the ground on their second play from scrimmage, and it's a big one to Quinshon Judkins. Could it be a house call? More than likely not, as Notre Dame does retreat and tackles Judkins, but inside the Notre Dame 10-yard line.
Worst thing that could happen.
First and goal, just like that. A 70-yard sprint for Quinshon Judkins on the second play from scrimmage here in the third quarter. Lisa, you said worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
Explain even more so.
Well, again, you saw the first play. They got a little bit of pressure on Will Howard. They got him into a second down and long situation, right? Positive for the defense, and then they come right back with an off-tackle play, and Quinshon Judkins breaks it to the house, breaks the second level. They're selling out now. They're taking chances. So now the chunk plays in terms of the rush attack. We'll see what transpires. Again, you gotta force stops. They didn't do that. They give up the explosive play, and it's like you rip the Band-Aid right off. That wound is open now. Now you're down and facing 3-touchdown deficit. Again, what's the momentum here for Notre Dame? Let's assume they're down 3 scores. At best, let's cut it down to a 1-score game by the end of the third quarter. But your defense has to do a much better effort, especially in run support. You can't allow that in any capacity.
No. Look, man, I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm not going to sit up here and act like this isn't tough to watch. And I think the problem right now is I feel like every single play, Notre Dame on defense, where you're like, it should have been more.
Yeah.
The first down play, right? They looked like they were going to get pressure. Yeah. They looked like they were going to sack him, right? And then he throws a football that if he had an extra step, instead of incomplete, might have been picked and returned to the house, honestly, right? Okay, it's fine. 2nd and 10. Okay, well, what's the result? Right to the house.
Yeah.
You just every single play for that Notre Dame defense isn't good enough. It's just not. And you have zero chance to do anything in this game at this point now unless you force a turnover.
Yeah.
Right? It's not – punts won't even do it. It is going to have to
selling out. It's selling out offensively and defensively right now. But again, they get it to a 2-score game. Mid-third quarter.
Sure.
Right, assuming that they can move the football.
But you are going to need, at some point in this second half,
turnover.
if you are going to keep this game even within that original line, I would say pregame, you are going to need what you have done better than any other FBS college football team this year, and that is take the football away. Right now, it's been all Ohio State and how they have moved the football offensively. 2nd and goal now for the Buckeyes from that Irish 4-yard line. Will Howard, trying to utilize his legs, comes up just a little bit short of that goal line. Should be about 3rd and goal from the 2. And again, Ohio State has been perfect on 3rd down conversions, picking up those first downs tonight. 6 for 6, now not hoping for a first down, but a touchdown. I believe that ball is marked at the 1-yard line, Lisi.
Yeah, again.
4-down territory, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is, right? You take, I mean.
A jugular.
The way you're playing right now, you take a shot. Yeah, and here we go. That's his 3rd touchdown. You know what his total was?
Oh, my
God. When Trey, who scored the first touchdown? Smith?
Jeremiah Smith.
Right. Judkins to score 2, I think was 12-1. I mean, now 3. Right?
3.
It's unbelievable when you think about it. But there's going to be value here. I mean, with points, even though you get a blowout, there's going to be value. We have 30 minutes of football left, basically, right?
Yeah.
Total's 55.5.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think what is most concerning about that defensive performance to start the third quarter for Notre Dame, if there was going to be a change in momentum, if there was going to be a stop and a statement defensively from this Marcus Freeman bunch, it would have been right out of the halftime locker room, not a 70-yard sprint for Quinshon Judkins down to the 5-yard line, who does score for a 3rd time in this game. And just like that, out of the break, Ohio State extends its lead. Now 28-7, the Buckeyes in front. In the 3rd touchdown tonight for Quinshon Judkins. 2 on the ground, 1 receiving score as well. Live spread, 25.5. Live total, up to 55 and a hook. Of course, Notre Dame is covering that number at the moment, but until we see them get a stop, a very precarious number to try to bet back in on.
Yeah, I mean, forget the stop even, right? I mean, you look back, they don't have a first down since the opening drive. So now you ask yourself, what's the offense going to look like? I think Notre Dame should come out run, personally, because I think Notre Dame is in a situation where, why I say that is I'd like the chance to be in 3rd and 2, because now I'm in 4-down territory.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm Notre Dame, and I think despite being down 2 possessions, or 3 possessions rather, it happened so quickly, right? Time is not priority 1. You can't take your time, but priority number 1 is scoring the football, right? And in this game, your pass offense has been your rush offense has something to it. So I would come out run, but and it's minus 140, which, considering how we've seen that number booked, a run of 1 or more yards, that would be value. I'm at the moment, I don't even have confidence in the Notre Dame play calling to make that wager.
And frankly, it's not like Notre Dame is a passing attack that is built to be a big play team time and again. It is an offense that is often predicated on the ground and then opening things up for quarterback Riley Leonard, whose live prop right now is 138 and a hook. The odds makers expecting Notre Dame to go to the air. Find out next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
Notre Dame is in the danger zone as they get the football for the first time in this second half, and it might be getting more dangerous. The Irish not built to be an aerial attack. They throw on their first play of this third quarter. It was incomplete. They run it on second down for a minimal game with Jeremiah Love, where you see Riley Leonard in his reaction shot shaking his head. Kev, we thought they might stay on the ground, but early to get a positive play, to not be in the position they are right now, 3rd and long against the nation's best scoring defense.
I thought they should. I didn't trust them to.
Yeah.
What I didn't was you don't come out pass, go incomplete, and then go to the run. You got to be now we're passing, right? If we're passing on we're passing. That's what we're doing. Because otherwise, then the first down pass should have been an easy one. You know what I'm saying? I think you're going.
Yes, we got to go.
That's
Come on.
a terrible spot. We'll review that. I mean, come on. That is a terrible spot. That's a yard.
You have to go right here. And
That's a
does
yard.
Not look. I can't tell what Marcus Freeman is mouthing to his team.
Everybody stay out.
No. I believe they are putting out the punt team 4th and 2.
No, man.
Albeit from their own 30 or 29-yard line. We have seen their own 32-yard line or so. We have seen Notre Dame do some things punting. Steve Angeli was the up man, the backup quarterback, and they tried a fake punt to Jordan Faison. Oh, that wasn't even Steve Angeli. I do not believe. I believe it was because they showed Rendell, who is the punter for Notre Dame. But if it was such an obvious fake punt situation for the Irish there, Lisi guy, why not trust your 6'4" battering ram of a quarterback, Riley Leonard, to get you 2 yards? Yes, I believe that was Angeli who threw the football, but incomplete, looking for Jordan Faison on the outside.
Bad call. If you're going to fake a punt, you're looking for more than 2 yards. I mean, I would much rather have Riley Leonard, Love, and Price out there and try to get the 2 yards with my offense.
For sure.
As opposed to a predictable 4th and 2 situation. Them staying out there first, then rushing them off to get the punt team on.
Yeah, you hate that.
I mean, come on.
You hate that.
I mean, I'm happy for the total. I get a short field, but I have a bunch of props on Notre Dame. I mean, that's not what you want to see.
And a Notre Dame team that often incorporates most of what they do offensively on the ground. They're already down by 3 touchdowns. Ohio State already inside the 30-yard line, looking to make this a 4-score game rather instantly here in the third quarter. There's still just over 11 minutes left. Kev, this has been a disastrous start to the second half for the Irish.
Yeah, every decision is wrong. First down should have been a run. It was a pass. Okay, well, then the second down should have been a pass. It was a run. Third down, they run an underneath drag route that you need to make a man miss in order to pick up a first down. They can't do that. And then on a 4th and 2, literally the only reason they scored in this game is because Leonard picked it up every time.
Yeah.
They run a fake punt with a backup quarterback being the guy with the ball in his hands. He made a fine throw. It should have been caught.
Yeah.
But the process was bad. The decision to go for it was the right one. I don't know, maybe I could still be watching through gold color glasses here. I think the spot was bad. So I think at that point, if you're going to go for it, everything matters, right? Challenge the spot. Or at least, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that was the case. So, look, nightmare from Notre Dame, undeniably. And even if your defense holds you, right, and gets a field goal, it's like, so the one time we held up, it would have been a punt, but instead it's a field goal because this is this where we started this drive.
Right.
It's a disaster.
And the defense starting to give up now. Not give up, but
starting,
I mean,
just.
Well, what I'm saying is I mean, now they're running chunk plays. Every play is a chunk play.
The weight of burden right now on them to try to make something happen, to Kevin's point, to try to hold them to a field goal try, so it's a 24-point game and not a 28-point game, as Ohio State is now inside the red area against Notre Dame. Even on a run play where it looked like Travion Henderson could have picked up a first down, well, Howard keeps it and scampers for a first as well. 2nd and 7 for Ohio State. Some yellow laundry on the field as Howard does connect with Emeka Egbuka. We'll see what that penalty is. We go back to the live numbers at this moment. It is 29.5 in favor of Ohio State, north of 4 touchdowns, 54 and a hook, and the over does have a fair bit of juice. I think one of the first negative plays Ohio State has seen offensively tonight is a hold on, I believe, Josh Fryer, the right tackle for Ohio State.
The only other one was a Jeremiah Smith handoff that went nowhere. That looked like the right call. It was certainly way more holding than the one that was called against Notre Dame 6 years ago, however long ago that play was. Feels like a decade ago.
Yeah.
But now you're here in 2nd and 17. Again, this is such a – it doesn't feel that way to me. It doesn't feel big at all. Because, one, they've picked it up all game. And, 2, You stop them and hold them to 3.
You
Again,
still
it's
don't-
like your best defensive
Yeah.
drive, they still scored on because of the starting point.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, and
I hear
I'm not saying the decision to go for it was wrong, but this is what I said to you.
The play call was wrong.
Yes, but my point is, every time the Notre Dame defense has even done something that feels positive, there's a yeah, but. And this is no different. Oh, they held them to a field goal. Yeah, but.
But this. Do we think that Notre Dame could score a touchdown?
Yeah, I do.
So if so,
Why is that team total south of 14?
No, I'm looking at anytime touchdowns. I'm looking at anytime touchdowns are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about Jeremiah Love 6-1.
Yeah.
I mean, Faison 8-1. I mean,
And by the way, that Notre Dame team total is south of 14. It is 13.5. The over has a little bit of juice at minus 130. So the first stop, it would seem, for Notre Dame defensively, despite the fact that Carnell Tate did get behind that Irish secondary. Will Howard, probably the worst incompletion he has had all night. Where is Ohio State right now? The 25-yard line?
28.
Because Jaden Fielding has not been overly reliable this year for Ohio State kicking the football, 11 of 15 this season.
Yeah, that'd be great if he missed. Again, you want to go silver lining? You want to go, bright side?
Sure.
Even if he makes it, it's a 3-possession game. All Notre Dame would have to do is get 3. Get out of there. All right.
Good.
What are you going to do?
It's a good night for the Buckeyes. Jaden Fielding does convert on that field goal. Ohio State extends the lead, now up 31-7. More SportsGrid next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
Live right here on college football, today's rendition of In-Game Live Game Day, our CFP National Championship special. He is Joe Lisi. He is Kevin Walsh. I am Ben Stevens. The Notre Dame defense does not allow a touchdown out of Ohio State, but Jaden Fielding matches his season long because everything is coming up Buckeyes tonight in Atlanta at the national title tilt. Now a 31-7 lead for Ohio State with 7 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in this third quarter. We go to the live line, 29.5 in favor of Ohio State. Live total up to 54.5. You thought that Notre Dame in its first offensive possession of this third quarter should go back to the ground game to get things started. Might they do that here on this second offensive possession?
It's plus 195 for this first play to be a run for 1 or more yards. I think that should be what Notre Dame does.
Yeah.
I'm once again not betting it because I do not trust the Notre Dame decisions right now from the play calling side of it. But that is what they should be doing. You are down 24 points. This is not about going fast. This is not about chunk plays that haven't existed in the passing game
we can get
at
them,
all
though.
Anyway. But I'm just saying, right?
We can get them. Come on, Price.
They should be running
They should.
the football.
Pound the rock.
That's the appropriate play call.
Play call.
And I'll give you a spoiler. They should do another run play here. You don't have a first down since the first possession. That's what's important.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get to the line quickly, but guess what? There's not that much communication that needs to happen if we're calling run again. Just call the run. And they're going to pass. Goodness me.
75 yards on that opening offensive possession for Notre Dame that resulted in a touchdown. Only 31 since that moment, but that first down for the Irish since that opening offensive possession of the game for Notre Dame. A quick pass out from Riley Leonard there to move the sticks.
Who
Chris
caught
Mitchell
Mitchell
was able to convert to pick up that first down as Notre Dame does move with some tempo. Not yet in Ohio State territory, not even really threatening midfield at this moment from their own 36-yard line. Time is of the essence, even to keep this game remotely close here in the third quarter, as Bo Collins gets close to a first down for the Fighting Irish as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a positive drive. They get over midfield, 4-down territory. This is it.
I think you're in 4-down territory right now. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. This is it. They throw caution to the wind. There's a little bit of tempo. You could still mix in some run if they get inside the 40-yard line. But at the end of the day, you have this sense of urgency. The play clock running down 20 seconds doesn't help you in any capacity. But that's what they have to do. Nice positive drive. We'll see if they can run it. They got to get some more chunk plays. Every pass play has been under 10 yards, right? Basically, short throws,
but
catches after the run. They haven't hit a big play over the top.
I'm just laughing at the broadcast of the game because they tried to show Jim Knowles and his assistant, covering him the whole time, so they just had to pull out the telestrator to circle who Jim Knowles is on the broadcast, so that got me there a little bit. You're now in second and long, though, after a first down run. With it being 4-down territory, you guys know what I would do, but I don't think that's going to be the play call.
And I don't think it was the play call unless...
It's just a nightmare. Just a total nightmare.
As on a delayed blitz.
Total nightmare.
I believe that was Sonny Styles that gets home.
Does Notre Dame have screenplays in the playbook or no? Like, do they have those in the playbook?
They did run one there to Chris Mitchell to pick up the first down.
For running backs, though. Like, do they don't have those? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a good play design from Mike Denbrock. Not there. A delayed blitz from Sonny Styles, one of the great Ohio State linebackers, up the middle, making a play and sacking Riley Leonard. So 2nd and 8 now becomes 3rd and 19. If you are Notre Dame offensively, you just have to get something to make this 4th and 7, 4th and 8, if they even can.
That's pass interference.
And I believe that will be called as such. Yellow laundry on the field.
The right call.
Guess who that is?
John Judkins.
Davison Igbinosun, who has been flagged for many a penalty this year in that Ohio State secondary, if that's who the call actually ends up being on. We've got about 30 seconds left in this segment. We make our way down, under 5 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Notre Dame gifted a new set of downs because of the penalty there. That's good DB behavior. Clearly grabbing and holding the entire time. The flag gets thrown as you are waving incomplete.
You hate how undisciplined he is.
No, I mean, it's been a story for Ohio State all season. More on SportsGrid coming up next.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
We've got a little bit of action at the national championship game inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium for that Notre Dame offense, as he did in the second half against Penn State in the Orange Bowl in the college football playoff semifinal. A big passing play to Jaden Greathouse. This one to pay dirt. Notre Dame has cut into that Ohio State advantage, now 31-13, as Marcus Freeman tells his offense to stay out on the field to go for it on that two-point conversion try. We'll see what they do. A little shovel pass from Riley Leonard into the welcoming arms of Jeremiah Love and into the end zone. Now officially a two-possession game inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Ohio State still in front, 31-15. But Kev, that was a picture-perfect offensive drive out of Notre Dame offensively.
Yeah, the great play by Greathouse. Broke a tackle, hit the spin move, then to score. A chunk play. That's what we've been asking for out of Notre Dame. They got it there. That was a 34-yard touchdown. Getting the two-point conversion is awesome. Now, I can only be realistic. It is so unlikely that Notre Dame is going to go another touchdown, two-point conversion, another touchdown, two-point conversion, right? It's just important to keep putting points up on the board. It's certainly beneficial towards the over, Lisi, which is now through the 45.5 with that two-point conversion.
It is. So now, the highest I took it was 50.5 at plus 152. We're right on pace. One score gets that. Again, what can your defense do right now? Can your defense give you a 3-and-out before the quarter's over? Is it possible? Yeah. But now your offense scored. You get the two-point conversion. You stole a possession, basically, in terms of 5 points because Ohio State kicks the field goal and you get 8. Right? So now your defense has to help you out. I'll tell you this, 29.5 were hanging there for a long time. 30 points. You now have 15 points of cushion if you bang the 29.5 space.
For sure.
I'm just saying, we talk about value. Where's the value? They look like they were dead and buried. This is college football. One play can all of a sudden now change the whole complexity of this game. You went from Ohio State being, we got the natty. Right? It's just 15 minutes away, basically. And now, all of a sudden, a two-possession game, your offense doesn't continue the momentum. All of a sudden, there's the potential to get a little tight. right? Notre Dame has to hold their end of the bargain. I'm just looking at it.
For sure.
Ben, we've sat on this desk for the last 3 years watching a number of different comebacks.
Mm-hmm.
You can never say a lead is too safe in college football, right? So even though it's Ohio State, one play, a turnover, anything could change this in the fourth quarter.
There's no doubt about it. And when you look at what Notre Dame just put together right there, on a short field, the defense did not allow a touchdown. Jaden Fielding converts with a 46-yard field goal. But, Kev, as you alluded to, before we saw that, Ohio State had third and very long, and Will Howard missed what appeared to be an open Carnell Tate. You said if Ohio State is held to just 3, it would be a 3-possession game because you were within 24. Most would think 4 scores. Naturally so, but you could get a 2-point conversion on every offensive score. That has happened now for the Fighting Irish on that first offensive touchdown. It's 31-15. Again, there's a lot left in this football game and in the third quarter. What must Notre Dame do defensively to continue to build this momentum?
Get them to hold you again? I want the best. I have action, right? But I know not everyone understands that the most unbiased man in the history of sports media thing is true more than anything else.
Yeah, very true.
The one time they got a stop, the holding penalty was a huge difference in it, right? It doesn't mean they can't get a stop in another way. They just haven't yet, right? And that's very difficult. And legitimately, Tate would have scored if Howard threw a better football or he ran a better route, whichever one of them had, or whatever it was that led to the incomplete pass. But that's where we are right now for Notre Dame. I saw the halftime statistics. Notre Dame, I believe, all season long, 3 drives that went 75 or more yards. Ohio State's first 4 drives were 75-plus yard touchdown drives. That's demoralizing, And I'll tell you the only thing, it's very refreshing that usually when you get a game like this for Notre Dame, it's like, see, Notre Dame can never be at the national stage, and this is more just about Ohio State and them finding a different level, and at some point in our show tonight, we might talk about not only Ryan Day, but anyone want to make Chip Kelly's phone ring at all? I don't know. I just think for Notre Dame, I'm not saying all hope is lost.
Right.
But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, okay, they now have momentum. I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah, it's still a 20.5-point live spread in favor of the Buckeyes. A little bit more than 3 minutes remain in this third quarter. Notre Dame is covering that live number, but it echoes what Kevin is saying. Ohio State still in full command. The Buckeyes have had 5 offensive possessions, and they have scored on every one. When you could hold a team to 3 when they start inside your own territory, it is, in fact, a successful win. But that's what it feels like. They still scored, and it was a monumentous win for Notre Dame. Lisi Guy, what do you want to see out of this Ohio State offensive possession, hoping for the Fighting Irish to keep this game at least entertaining as we enter the final 15 minutes in Atlanta?
Get a few first downs. That's the big thing right now. You have 3 minutes in the third quarter. You don't have to score right this second. Take some time off the clock. Get out of the third quarter with a first down and 10 pending for the fourth quarter. That is the biggest thing. We talk about cutting the game down into certain types of segments. The biggest thing for Notre Dame, if you're on the defensive side of the ball, right, we talk momentum. I want that. I want to get the football back before the end of the third quarter. That's what Notre Dame defense, get us the football back before the end of the third quarter. We got a shot. Right, so how do you neutralize that? I want to maintain possession. I want to get first downs. I want to run this clock down to the third quarter. And you know what? At the start of the fourth quarter, I want to have a first down and 10 at maybe my 40-yard line or midfield. That is the biggest thing. I don't need to score right now. I have to worry about that in the fourth quarter, not right now. I want to get out of the third quarter. I want to make sure that I run some clock, and I don't want to give any momentum to that Notre Dame defense. So we're talking first play right now. Run.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, this is a real role reversal for you and I. If I'm Ohio State,
you're pushing it.
Just the first play. My brain doesn't get to the next play. Notre Dame, I imagine, is coming downhill right now to stop the run because they think Ohio State's going to try to burn clock. I'm giving you that deep play action. Show me. and I'm telling the Stars to run as far as they want, because I think there is a chance that Notre Dame now is the mentality is get him in the backfield.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, Trevion Henderson has the most impressive game I've ever watched of a player who only has 10 for 45.
Yeah.
Like, he's made four or five guys miss, it feels like, on each touch.
Sure.
Again, that's probably not what they're going to do. It's not what.
There you go.
Okay, you know what I mean. But,
safe throw. It was a safe one.
But I think that's if they came down a little bit further, a screens can always go to the house. So I think that they, Chip Kelly, who I think's actually very underrated for his NFL tenure, if I'm honest with you, sees it similarly to how I did there to open that up.
A little play fake for Will Howard and a connection with Emeka Egbuka. Again, in the opening half, Will Howard 14 of 15 for $144. Here in the second half, that his first completion, but he does find Egbuka, who is Ohio State's leading receiver at the moment. 5 grabs, which he has had exactly in every college football playoff game for Ohio State for 40 yards. A third and very short for Ohio State offensively. We'll tell you what happens up next.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We welcome you back to college football. Today's rendition of In-Game Live Game Day, our CFP National Championship Special, as we enter the fourth quarter in Atlanta between Ohio State and Notre Dame. The Buckeyes still ahead by 2 scores, 31-15, the lead for Ohio State over the Fighting Irish as we enter the final 15 minutes inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It seemed as though the Irish defense would put Ohio State behind the sticks and force a long third down try for the Buckeyes. but a roughing the passer penalty called on Notre Dame, granted a free first down for Ohio State. Lisi, just as it felt the Irish had some momentum, a penalty you can ill afford to take works against that Irish defense.
Yeah, it did. And, that was the perfect recipe, right? Get the football back at the start of the fourth quarter, at the end of the third, with an opportunity to cut it to one score. Again, it's a second down and 7 right now coming up across midfield. Defense needs to step up. They haven't really made a play all night. They haven't forced a turnover. This is an opportunity. How about a sack? How about something to disrupt that Ohio State offense? You have to take chances now. There's 1 quarter left. It's go big or go home. What can you do? Your quarterback showed you a little bit of a rhythm, but he's got to get the football back. Only down 2 scores to have a shot, Ben, to close this out. So we'll see if they can do it. Again, total backers are looking good right now because it's most likely tempo for Notre Dame, no matter what the score is, getting the football, 2-minute offense. Takeaways will be critical. Can Notre Dame at least get the football? Can they get a 3 and out to close the gap to 1 score? We haven't had a tight game since the first quarter. Love to see it right now.
I mean, depending on where you got that total pregame, you're already over. We have 46 combined points. 45 and a hook is that number. So it will be Ohio State football in Notre Dame territory to open up the fourth. Of course, Kev, it probably goes without saying you can't allow any points here for Notre Dame to even keep this game competitive in our fourth and final quarter of the season.
Yeah, it's more but, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, they got him into a 3rd and long, but then they roughed the passer. And look, the holding penalty very early on in this game I thought was really bad, right? I didn't think that was a terrible call.
No.
When I saw some online did, it was unfortunate. I think they could have not made it, but I don't think it was a terrible roughing the passer penalty. And it's incredibly defeating, right? Because you have Ohio State now with another opportunity where even if you do get them off the field, they got a pretty good chance to pin you.
Yeah.
For Notre Dame, it's not like last drive was easy. So that'll take up a lot of time. And then you need a 2-point conversion on that drive to keep it a 1-possession game. So it's just every chance that this defense has had to get an ounce of momentum they have not had. And I think that is, the tough thing for me in this football game, where the Notre Dame defense has been really good this season. This performance is atrocious. And it's hard to really reconcile with. I think Ohio State's offense is very good. I don't think it's better than when C.J. Stroud was there. Notre Dame played that unit with Freeman 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable defensive effort. This is, I don't know, is this the worst defensive effort that Freeman's group has had since he's been there? They don't have a punt forced.
Yeah.
It's way up there.
Yeah.
It's way, way, way up there. So it's very difficult because, again, it's not. You didn't think Ohio State was going to do well? Ohio State having 31 points is a product of how long things have taken
for sure
in this game. It's not a Notre Dame, man, holding them to 31, you take that. No. Like we talked about with Texas last week, is they're now, busting out some trick plays and Emeka Egbuka with maybe more rush yards than receiving yards.
I believe that's a pass. Oh, my goodness.
Is that for us?
Oh, my goodness. Hold on just a second. In Atlanta, Georgia, I believe it was a pass to Emeka Egbuka.
Was it?
Because it was a pitch forward, if I am not mistaken, which is great for one of my best bets of this game. Egbuka 60-plus receiving yards, but at the very end, the ball hit the turf on what should have been a big play for Egbuka, and that football is out. I believe it is the Notre Dame defensive captain, Jack Kaiser, who has forced a turnover. What does Notre Dame do better than any defense in the country? Force takeaways. And at the end, as I believe that football is being started to jar loose before Egbuka's shin hits the turf, that should be a football turnover there in Notre Dame football on the other side. I was going to say something about how the Irish could really use one of those vaunted turnovers they have seen all year long. Still under review in Atlanta. The call on the field is a fumble. I would
it's a
be
confirmed.
hard to believe.
I'm saying this right now. If it's overturned, I'm going home. Okay. You will do this game without me.
That's fair enough.
I'll settle up with whoever I got to settle up with.
You don't want to stand?
No. Oh, my back. No, it's fine. That's Notre Dame football, and
it is.
Again, cowardly.
I wanted you.
Cowardly though. That was a confirmed. Cowardly to go play stands. That was a confirmed. So I don't like that.
Can we get some rush yards?
I'd love them. Hey, who do you want, Price or Love?
Both.
How about a 50-yarder holding, but 25 of it counts? Run it again, 60-yarder. I don't know. What do you need, Lise?
You're being a wise guy.
I'm trying.
The 33rd takeaway for Notre Dame's defense this season, the most in FBS college football. They have converted the previous 50 or 32 takeaways into 151 points. Also, the most in FBS college football. What a defensive play by Notre Dame's defensive captain in Jack Kaiser. That was officially a pass, by the way.
He doesn't want to cut that up.
And he is over his pregame receiving yards prop. Even the closing number at 62.5, he does have 64. So can Notre Dame offensively take advantage? A lot of pressure on 13 at Navy tonight. The Golden Domer quarterback in Riley Leonard. It will be 3rd and 9 as we are about to send you to the break here. Just an update on the live odds. A 16.5-point spread in favor of the Buckeyes and a live total at 55.5. Will the Fighting Irish still have the football on the other side of the break? We'll find out next on SportsGrid.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We've got a little bit of life in Atlanta, Georgia for a competitive football game in the national championship with just over 12 minutes remaining in our fourth and final quarter. Ohio State ahead 31-15, but after Notre Dame forces its 33rd takeaway of the season, the Irish are into Buckeyes territory inside Ohio State's 40-yard line as well at the Buckeye 33. A fourth down play is upcoming for this Fighting Irish offense.
What's the
I would
yardage?
ask us all to put our phones away, to not look at any live odds. It should
5?
be about
4th
and 5
Come on.
for Notre Dame. About 11 and a half minutes remaining. Again, we can't give you exact play-by-play. We will try to describe as best we can.
Go down. Just go down.
But you heard from Joe Lisi. The Fighting Irish convert. They have been great on 4th down tonight when the offense has remained on the field. And Jaden Greathouse is having a great second half, living up to his name for the Fighting Irish, just on the doorstep of Ohio State's red zone at the Buckeyes' 22-yard line. Gentlemen, we might have ourselves a ball game in Atlanta.
There he is. Get up. There you go.
Greathouse turned into
That's all right.
The greatest player in the history of the National Football League. I mean,
this is Tim Brown.
This kid probably goes top 5.
Tim Brown 2.0.
All right, so listen, let me just try and get a moment of clarity.
Please.
Yeah.
Talk about spread drama.
Yeah, big time.
And again, we want more than that, but just, a touchdown's going to be followed with a 2-point conversion.
Correct.
Many people are holding 8.5s.
Yes.
I would say
They don't kick the. They don't kick. They're not going for the 2 right now. They're not.
Hey, I'm just letting you know, and I love you to death.
Yeah, I love you to death.
Math
Oh,
wrong.
they're down 16.
I know.
My bad. All right.
That happens.
Good.
That
All
happens.
good.
Don't
All good.
start.
No.
No. 10 and a half minutes remaining.
I thought it was
2nd and
50.
4.
We're in the mix, and
from
bullets are
Ohio
flying.
State's 16-yard line.
Who's there?
Leonard goes up.
Someone else got called
And
for a
it looked
penalty.
as though it could be complete, but some more yellow laundry on the turf in the Ohio State secondary. We'll see what the call is. A couple of coverage penalties on Davis Igbinosin, who has 16 this season, the most in FBS college football. This one apparently on Denzel Burke for Ohio State, but a defensive holding penalty against the Buckeyes. I don't know if it had to have been earlier in that play.
Yeah, because the flag was already out. It was holding. That
would be PI, and it was not.
Yeah, it
That's
was
a contested catch, but it's 1st and goal for Notre Dame offensively. 10 minutes and 21 seconds remain in the 4th quarter. Can Notre Dame make this a 1-score football game against the Buckeyes? Actually, the holding on the other side of the field.
That's a great call.
Yes, as Bo Collins was trying to run his route, and that was flagged. Riley Leonard will look to call his own number, and Ohio State sniffed it out immediately in that defensive front, and Riley Leonard a little bit slow to get up there on the turf in Atlanta.
I think I have a decent eye. I'm trying to be, right? If I was able to see that, and the play was only in front of us for a second, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right? Come on. That's bad.
You
That's
have
really
two
bad.
outstanding running backs in Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. I don't mind the
run.
run
But if you're calling runs anyway, Joe, they can be involved then.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would say, as we mentioned,
don't run to the short side of the field. Roll them out to the left. Let's get some movement. Roll out the pocket.
Riley Leonard has that control here.
Flag?
No.
That
They
was
go
Mitchell
for a
Evans,
fade to the
my
tight
guy.
end, Mitchell
I
Evans.
don't mind that. I'm sitting on multiple levels of Mitchell Evans for
I know
an
you don't
anytime
mind.
touchdown.
Correct.
So
What do you mean you
down
don't mind that? It was an incomplete pass.
I like the look that he's at least
We
looking
got to
at
get
him.
you to your alt-overs. We got to keep this game within the number. Your name is Joe Walsh, not Joe Evans. Don't forget that.
You see,
I'm sitting on a 1060 ticket. I should have bagged it
Critical
out.
moment here in this football game. Under 10 minutes remain in regulation. A 3rd and goal for the Fighting Irish offense from the 9-yard line. For Notre Dame, how will they look to attack Ohio State?
They really don't roll them out, huh?
And once they get inside the 10-yard line, again, the Buckeyes have bowed up time and again this year. The best red zone defense in college football.
But here's where it's tough, right? So if this drive goes your way, where you are on the field, it'll be a 1-possession game.
What's he doing?
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
No
and this
way.
is said it is a guy who bet Notre Dame plus 14.5 very early on. It
What are
looks
we
as though
doing?
Marcus Freeman is sending out his kicker, Mitch Jeter, to attempt what would be a short field goal try from about 29 yards away with 9 minutes and 34 seconds remaining. And that was no good. That is some direct karma right away. Ohio State can't return that. Yeah, we're a little bit confused as well.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time. And I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because, he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Still trying to
Figure
it out. If I carry the 7, what in the world Marcus Freeman was thinking? Electing to try a field goal with Mitch Jeter. That's karma as instant as you will ever find. A doink off the left upright, a chip shot for a kicker for the Fighting Irish in Mitch Jeter that has been sensational in clutch moments throughout the college football playoff. But the field goal try, no good. Lisi, let's try to break this down a little bit. Notre Dame, with about 9.5 minutes remaining in regulation of the national championship game, has a 4th and goal from inside the 10-yard line, down 31-15, needing 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions to even this game up with a national championship at stake. Instead of doing that against a really good Ohio State defense, Marcus Freeman decides to kick a field goal that, even if successful, Notre Dame would have been down 31-18, still needing 2 touchdowns to get back into this game. Sure, it would have given them the lead had they converted on those 2 touchdowns, but with under 9.5 minutes remaining, I still cannot wrap my mind around a guy that has been so smart in how he has coached football games throughout this season, and especially in the college football playoff. Yeah, I'm shocked and at a loss for words, frankly.
Well, I'll just say this. You talk about mitigating risk, right, in terms of that situation. The worst situation for Notre Dame, they don't get it, right? But you still put your defense at an opportunity in terms of 1st and 10 inside the 10-yard line, right, as opposed to out on the 20 with the missed field goal. And even if he made the field goal, you were kicking off, you were going to give them positive field position at the 30 or 35-yard line, right? So I want to say inexperienced call, right? Rookie type of call. You don't do that. Marcus Freeman and that staff should have known better. And again, dial up better plays. I mean, give your team an opportunity to win the game. Kicking a field goal helps you in no capacity. None. I just... Terrible. They get the turnover. They move the football. Okay, you can't convert, but now the defense has an opportunity to get a 3 and out with a 1st and 10 inside the 10. You don't even give them that shot. What was the even he makes it? They kick off. They're going to fair catch. They're going to start off on the 25 or 30-yard line.
You're going to need 2 stops and 2 more touchdowns.
No sense.
That if you even get to that stage, you could win the game, but you have 9 minutes remaining against an Ohio State team that, frankly, has moved the football on you at will throughout the entirety of tonight's national championship game.
Yeah, unbelievable. Here we go with a third down now. And, now I did say the total, yes. So I hit the 45.5. I haven't hit the alt yet. But, middle week we were 46.5. Notre Dame's team total was 17.5. I mean, you trying for the team total, Freeman? I mean, you tell me. Makes absolutely no sense.
I had a live total late in that opening half, or a live spread, rather, that I bet on the Fighting Irish plus 14.5.
What was the point?
And I'm incensed by that. I can only imagine if you, Kev, have been able to find any words, find any thoughts.
I'm never wrong. Fire him. And I'm not kidding. He's clearly lost. And that is the single most indefensible decision I've ever seen in my entire time watching football. I can't think of a second. And I watch Detroit Lion games. That is so mortifying. I can't. You just forced your first punt of the whole game. Yeah, but we kicked a field goal, so it doesn't even matter. If, as Joe appropriately pointed out, you went for that 4th and goal to 9 and did not get it and did not get a yard, they would have been inside the 10-yard line, right? And or not a 3 and out, but a punt. They would have been much further deep in the field. Maybe you get a safety, which all of a sudden the 16 becomes 14,
for sure,
which would have been more as valuable as that field goal.
Absolutely,
it is an impossible to defend decision. It covers for the atrocious play calling on 1st and 2nd down. I know you wanted the Mitch Evans there, but it's 2025. Stop throwing fades to tight ends that are not certainly throwing fades too worthy. With respect to Mitch Evans, I don't know, man. Like that is impossible for me.
Yeah.
Like I am very. Those decisions determine whether or not you have a grasp of what's going on. And that wasn't a decision. Nobody in the world thought that they had a decision to make on 4th and goal at the 9. Right?
It was, what play call are you running, and are you going to be able to convert against this Ohio State defense? There's no one out there, no one who is so anti-analytics that take the 3. There's not a soul. Yeah. I don't think it is insane. I know you mentioned instant karma. I don't think it's out of bounds that Mitch Jeter missed that field goal because Mitch Jeter knew he wasn't kicking. He probably had 0 warm-up reps. I agree.
And then ran out there. He was probably on the bench. I mean, honestly, in what world was Mitch Jeter prepping for a field goal? We've said Notre Dame's in 4th down territory since a quarter ago. That is so bad.
Yeah.
It is so bad. Notre Dame just got to stop. It feels meaningless. Absolutely meaningless.
Yep. We will remember in this second half, in the most critical junctures of a national championship game, 2 4th down decisions that will always leave you scratching your head, made by Marcus Freeman. The most egregious, maybe one of the worst decisions you will ever see in the sport of football at any level, was that 27-yard field goal try that was doinked off the left upright, down by 2 touchdowns, needing 2 touchdowns, and even if the field goal was good, still needing 2 touchdowns. But the 4th down try on their opening offensive possession of the 3rd quarter, to say we're going for it on 4th and 2 with a 6'4" quarterback in Riley Leonard, and then to go for a fake punt with your backup quarterback Steve Angeli and only 1 potential option. Just 2 confounding decisions, Kev, by a guy in Marcus Freeman who had been brilliant in his coaching decisions throughout the college football playoff.
Yeah, look, I know everyone's been really impressed with Freeman. The credit I give him is losing to NIU and that not ruining the season. was stunning to me. You know how I felt after the NIU loss. And I'm aware that they're not going to fire him because he kicked a field goal there. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
At some point, not now, in a while, I'll probably admit they shouldn't fire him for that decision. In this moment, I mean it, though. At this moment, I'd let him go. That's just beyond atrocious. I don't know. It's so baffling. Like, Notre Dame has, with that, let's move on from that. Notre Dame and the play calling has been also abysmal. I'm sorry, but running Riley Leonard is good in moments, but if you're running the football, that means we're calling a run play. They don't have to exclusively go to Riley Leonard.
Right.
You have
Love and
super
Price,
explosive running backs who can make plays, and I don't know, they've not pushed the right button.
They haven't had continuity outside
the first drive.
Outside the first drive.
Yeah.
Denbrock has not been in a rhythm at all.
No, I agree.
And it's like the safe play is Riley Leonard RPO power, but at some point now,
it almost feels, Lisi, sorry to cut you off, but it almost feels as if someone else was in charge of the first drive, because whomever understood the game plan there left the room after that drive.
Yeah.
Because it's just not been the same football team.
Yeah, Mitchell Evans, look at this.
There you
I
go.
wanted to
There's
take
your Mitchell Evans.
Could he
yard.
score?
It's so bizarre, but a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. This is a one
I
possession
just went
game,
to hit him.
and it doesn't feel like it at all right now.
Less than 5.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of the national championship. More to come from Atlanta next.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Less than 5.5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter of a national championship game. And as Kevin put pretty beautifully, to surmise it before we hit the commercial break, Notre Dame is driving deep into Ohio State territory with a legitimate chance right now to make this a one-possession game, and it doesn't really feel like that. Ohio State still leads 31-15 here, just over 5 minutes away from becoming a national champion once again for the first time since 2014. Those live numbers, 15.5-point spread in favor of the Buckeyes, a live total at 46.5. We got over the pregame number of 45 and a hook with that first 2-point conversion try for Notre Dame. Standing at 46, and Lisi, we haven't seen any scoring since. What do you think is the conclusion of this Irish offensive possession?
Well, again, I mean, if I believe they could get points. Again, are they going to be aggressive? It's 46.5. I mean, even money. What?
I just don't even know what's going on right now. No, this is the
Still
weirdest
about the field goal?
Maybe, I don't know. I'll say this. I'm really sorry. I know you don't mind.
I don't mind.
If they score and get the 2-point conversion, and they win lose this game by 8.
Cover.
Notre Dame plus the points, quite frankly.
Will never be. You will never be able to question that.
Yeah, like my dad will kill me if I ever get a tattoo, but he might understand that one. Like if we get a Notre Dame plus the points.
All right.
That's just, I don't know, man.
Is that Bo Collins? Big bad Bo?
What about your long-lost brother, Joe Walsh? Will he understand that tattoo? I think you will.
I will. I won't mind.
Listen, ready? I'll be Lisi. Should I be Lisi the rest of the
Yeah.
You think Mitchell Evans is open here?
He should be. I mean.
You got to think of field goal tries coming up.
Got it.
Get this.
He got it.
There it is.
Listen, now we could think about it, though, maybe, Ben. And at the end of the day, that field goal was an right
Good,
decision.
Riley. Put up the 2. And make sure your coach knows you're trying a 2-point conversion and not the extra point.
And I hit the total, by the way. I needed that.
Yeah, it was big for you.
I got to tell you, it is a good point. Is kicking one here would be the equivalent of that decision.
And a field goal and a touchdown.
Hey, man,
you win
we
the
ain't
football
chasing
game.
points.
Now, listen.
You know what? I like what you're saying, BWS.
As much as we are being a little bit chide right now and making some sarcastic comments, another deep touchdown toss from Riley Leonard to Jaden Greathouse. It is 31-21. Greathouse here in the second half for Notre Dame. A 30-yard touchdown grab and a 34-yard touchdown reception. There are 4 minutes and 15 seconds left, and the Irish are currently down by 10, 31-20. If this 2-point conversion is successful, Notre Dame will make it an 8-point game. It would be within.
He's got it.
That opening spread.
We're covering.
A little bit
We're
of
covering. Can we win it?
Let's win it.
Let's win it.
Jordan plays on to Bo Collins in the back of the end zone. And folks, somehow, some way, despite Marcus Freeman trying his darndest, his Notre Dame team is in this football game down by just a single score, 33-23. Somehow, some way.
I don't know, man.
What a catch by Jaden Greathouse, beating Jordan Hancock for his second receiving score of this second half.
Come on, man. Let me just say this. That field goal decision was all right. Mitch Teeter stinks. This would be a 5-point game. I got to tell you, the more I look into it, I think the analytics backed it up. What's his name? Trees Trash? What's his name? That kid was on to something. That kid is all right. These Irish here. Let me tell you, we talked a little bit. Oh, that's a foul, brother. Hey, in the chair. Glue him to the seat. I'll just say this. All right? We opened this show. I said, we already know that either it's going to be Notre Dame wins it or Ohio State between 1 and 8. Where are we? Between 1 and 8, but maybe, Lisi, Notre11 could win it. What are you clicking over there? Look at him. Look at him. He's got 11-1. Mitchell Evans for 70 points.
I missed the 40. It was the same at the 40.
He's got it clicked in.
Oh, my
Don't kick the onside. Go deep.
Notre Dame does boot it away. Not super far, but
is that
down
in the
field.
Oh, my God.
I don't know what's happening. All right.
If
So
Will
Ohio
Howard throws
State
a
will
pick
take
here,
over
I don't know, man.
Oof. Ohio State will take over possession once again as Travion Henderson received that ensuing kickoff and brought it out ever so slightly. Still the Buckeyes inside their own 25-yard line.
Be a heck of a
4
time to
minutes
make a play, Ben.
and 10 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Notre Dame still has all 3 timeouts left, and they are within a single score. Before this Buckeyes possession begins, it's a live 8.5-point spread. If you want to lay the number with the Buckeyes live, which was that closing pregame spread, it is plus 550 for Ohio State to score another point and hold on for that victory margin. There is a lot of green in the stands inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And Lisi, Guy, they are fired up right now.
Gotta get a stop. Stuff them! Get in there! I'm getting all uptight here. I'm going to pull a muscle rooting.
That's all right.
Oh, that's crazy.
You got a lot of them. How many muscles do you have?
He's got a lot.
Like 100.
Can't even see what's going on with that back.
You have more
and
muscles
right
or
now.
teeth? Good question. Good trivia. Get him. Come on. Man, if this
Sir,
guy...
how about a false start here? I'll take a false start, not to root the position.
Yeah.
Can we get a false start?
I don't know.
Fumble.
They're holding. Watch the holding. You can already see 77's holding. He lost pre-snap. I see that clear as day.
Got to
Watch.
get some pressure.
Watch.
Fumble it.
Watch right on the interior.
Watch him. Nowhere.
Smash him. Holding. So they're allowed to do whatever they want. All right, yeah.
A big first down conversion right there for Ohio State. Now under 3.5 minutes remaining, as Will Howard has often done tonight, calling his own number and bouncing outside to pick up about 9 or 10 yards. Again, we are under 3.5 minutes remaining. That was a big first down for Ohio State. Still plenty of time for Notre Dame in this single possession game. 3:17, injured Irish defender on the field right now. 3 timeouts for Notre Dame. That 2-minute timeout as well. We've got 30 seconds left in this segment. Any thoughts quickly, gentlemen, before we get to the break and we see everybody on the other side?
25-1 right now if you want to take Notre Dame. 8.5 spread. I mean, down 21.5 points. It's amazing.
Yeah, look, man, what a chance this would be. Let's just get a chance to get the football back. That's all we can ask for. My thing came out. All right.
3:17 remains in a national championship game. Plenty in store next.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A third and very long awaits Ohio State. Sorry, the excitement is palpable here on the desk. Let's do that again. A third and very long awaits Ohio State's offense after 2 negative run plays called by Chip Kelly featuring his quarterback, Will Howard. 3rd and 11 to be exact. Is there now 2 minutes and 45 seconds?
Oh, yeah.
They upped the clock.
I guess when they called the first timeout.
2 timeouts taken by Notre Dame.
What's the play call?
2:45. 3rd and 11
throw it, no?
here for Ohio State.
I don't know.
In what has become An outstanding national championship game in Atlanta. 31-23, the Buckeyes in front. Can Notre Dame make another defensive play and get the football back with an opportunity?
What would your play call be?
Check Rhino.
Lisi and I were talking while you were breaking the whole thing down. We both would throw
I actually
Ohio
think
State.
I throw the football.
Yeah, wow.
Try to pick it up as they have a couple of times tonight against the third best pass defense in college football all year. They bring pressure.
No, please. Oh, my gosh. How does that possibly happen?
They went for the kill shot.
Morons, how could you possibly let that happen?
Notre Dame brings pressure. Will Howard answers, as does Jeremiah Smith. A huge pass play up the right sideline to the outstanding freshman who beat man coverage and just caught a 56-yard pass on 3rd and 11. For a critical first down that more than likely will give Ohio State a national championship.
He skipped college. He doesn't get to pretend he went there. I love him. He's a good, close personal friend. Take it easy.
I don't.
Enough with that. Is it knees or there's still a timeout? What's the stories? This isn't over yet. It's 2-minute warning. There's a lot of game left.
The clock. 2-minute timeout. First and goal for Ohio State.
Oh, goodness me.
Deep in Notre Dame territory. Again, a couple of the decisions tonight. Al Golden is the defensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish to bring pressure against an Ohio State offensive line that has allowed 12 sacks all season long in 15 games entering tonight. And technically, Joshua Burnham was awarded 2 sacks, but really not in the way that Will Howard was dropping back and had pressure right in his face, more so tripping Will Howard as he was trying to escape the pocket. And you've got one of the best secondaries in football, and you play man-up coverage against potentially the best wide receiver in the sport, officially a 57-yard reception from Will Howard to Jeremiah Smith on 3rd and 11. Again, the excitement palpable as we welcome you back from that commercial break. Now the atmosphere and the enthusiasm for what we were just hoping might be a one-score game where Notre Dame would get the ball back with time remaining, trying to maybe tie a national championship game in Atlanta seems all but out the window, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
One play. Unbelievable.
I got to tell you.
3rd and 11. Great throw. Give him the credit. Great throw. Great catch.
The field goal looms large.
Large.
There's no first down available. They can't run the clock out. So Ohio State kicking a field goal.
I don't believe they can fully run the clock out. There's still one more timeout for Notre Dame. And each play, but even after that, it would be a 40-second play clock, twice, and you would still need to snap the ball at least on 4th down.
I mean,
if you were to take a knee, it would be a turnover on down, stopping the clock again.
And it would be odd that you don't just take a field goal. I mean, I guess you want to risk it getting blocked and returned. I mean, maybe.
I guess.
Maybe. My point is, all right, so let's go then this. Let's just say we're confused about time. Are you trying to score? Like when they hand this football off, they're going to hand it off, right? They're going to take a knee right here on this.
Does Notre Dame let them score?
What is Ohio State trying to score? Does Notre Dame let them score? I would say Notre Dame does let them score. Yeah. I would say what probably happens then is Ohio State. This every time a team tries to let someone score, the player usually goes, "Oh, they're run," and then falls down.
Falls down at the 2.
Whether they want to or not, the decision, they almost become powerless in that moment where they're like, "Never mind, never mind." I think Notre Dame should let them score. I'm not saying it would it's going to result in anything great, but I think they would let them score.
I believe they are going to attempt to let them score. You would think Ohio State understanding of that as well, and might take a dive before the pylon, which would force Notre Dame's hand to use a timeout, and Ohio State would have 40 seconds on the play clock between those final 2 snaps before 4th down. We are hitting the commercial break here, out of the 2-minute time out in Atlanta in the national championship game. 2 minutes remaining, 1st and goal for Ohio State. Plenty more coming up next on SportsGrid.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Just about a minute and 15 seconds remain in tonight's national championship game in Atlanta. We are doing the math on the fly, game clock, play clock right now between Ohio State and Notre Dame. 3rd and goal as the play clock was about to expire. Ryan Day elects to take his second time out. A minute and 13 seconds left for this 3rd and goal snap. Ohio State is going to have to snap the football on 4th down. What they will do there to try to waste away as much of the time remaining as possible, that remains to be seen. No timeouts remain, Kev, for the Fighting Irish.
So I think we're all talking this out, right? Because it's the spread drama now that we have in this game. I think if they were willing to kick a field goal on 4th, you would just score a touchdown, right? Because a field goal, I know that nobody actually thinks it would be blocked and returned, but you don't run that risk. Right? Now, giving Notre Dame, 30 seconds is more time than you'd like, but you can't lose the game if you give them that amount of time, and it's so unlikely. I don't know. I could be off base here. I don't know what they do.
And that, of course, is going to be critical because the lines for this game before we got underway tonight inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 8.5 in favor of the Buckeyes, even at its open for the national title matchup, 9.5. A field goal converted here by Ohio State would allow the Buckeyes to not just win a national championship, but cover in the first ever national title game in the 12-team college football playoff. But I have not seen the field goal team nor Jaden Fielding
call a timeout.
Trot on the field. And
I think he said field goal kick it. I think he said field goal kick it.
Which would be huge. Ohio State has about 15 seconds left in that play clock. They do have one timeout remaining. If they were to take it all the way down to 1, there's going to be about 28, 29 seconds or so on that game clock for Ohio State, standing in its way up by 8 over Notre Dame to win a national championship. And the broadcast is isolating Ohio State kicker Jaden Fielding, which means Notre Dame, Lisi guy, is going to bring the house to try to block this field goal and potentially take it back.
Yeah, it would be. Wouldn't that be crazy if something like that happens? Unbelievable. You're dominating the game. You're on life support. You convert a critical third down, and now you think you're just getting a gimme field goal, right? And you're opening it up now to possible block or any type of return for Notre Dame. So we'll say it's a chip shot.
Yeah, I don't think this is the right decision, if I'm honest with you.
I don't either. And I do wonder just if there's a wrinkle up a sleeve. You know, every football program practices, or at least they say they do, every single possibility.
Kid's about 150 pounds.
Football. If they snap this football and just take a knee, spike it, something here. I would be surprised.
I understand you don't want to hand your opponent the football with any time remaining in a one-possession game.
Yeah.
But I do think then I would have just scored a touchdown, or at least given myself the chance to.
A 33-yard try upcoming for Jaden Fielding. Now 12 of 16 tonight after matching his season high from 46 yards out earlier in the second half. And that 33-yard try is up and through the uprights. Ohio State now ahead by 11, 34-23 with 26 seconds remaining, all but guaranteeing a Buckeyes national championship victory and, more than likely, an Ohio State cover as an 8.5, 9.5-point favorite in the national championship game. Still 26 seconds remaining in Atlanta, but the Ohio State faithful that has made the trip to Georgia starting to celebrate. And, Lisa, you can certainly understand why. The Buckeyes, in the first ever college football playoff in the 2014 season, a national champion under Urban Meyer. They are 26 seconds away from the first national championship being crowned in the 12-team college football playoff and the first title under Ryan Day.
Yeah, and Ryan Day and the staff did exactly what they were supposed to, right? When they lost to Michigan, they were on the hot seat. They ran the table in terms of the college football playoff. They got a hot quarterback in Will Howard, made the plays when the game was on the line. And again, that defense shut down at least a rushing attack of Love and Price entering the matchup, right? Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame had no success on the ground outside of Riley Leonard, outside the first drive where they pounded the rock and ran it right down their throat. They made second-half adjustments and second-drive adjustments with Jim Knowles. Fantastic coaching job. They deserve to win. But again, you know, it's just one or two plays that just changed the whole complexity of the game. And that third down conversion, if they miss it, we might be talking about a different game tonight.
Yeah, I think – I mean, I'm still wondering if Notre Dame can cover.
Right.
Because you would kick the field goal if you got close enough, probably. Maybe not. I don't know. Freeman might knee the ball. God knows. I think in a season where we had no great teams, and great by college football standard, right? We had no – what ultimately we then saw was – and I think part of that is we didn't have any great quarterbacks. You know, the Heisman Trophy race, the 1 and the 2
There's the
were just perfect timing. The 1 and the 2 in the Heisman Trophy race were not at the quarterback position. And I think what that allowed then is the national championship to come down between two teams who are ultimately not led by their quarterback, but all you then needed was someone to step up. And Howard stepped up. In this game, he stepped up while playing alongside an incredible roster alongside him, and it was a team that kind of found their mojo as the playoff began. I will say this: they are not in any way an underdog story. They simply did what they were supposed to. They were one of two favorites entering the season alongside Georgia.
Yeah,
but I won't pretend that their backs weren't up against the wall. Their game against Tennessee, everybody knew going in, was for the whole staff's jobs. I mean, you want to go where's Ryan Day landing? He's not at Ohio State. Like, it's such an odd thing, right? Like, that's a year off probably. There's no jobs open. Those players, Will Howard, that could have been your final football game. They're, going to send north of 15 players into the draft, ultimately. So to get through that moment, and then, we talk a lot about how unfair it was for Oregon to have to play the 1 seed or to have to play Ohio State. Ohio State had to play Oregon. They smashed that football team.
Yeah.
And then they had to play Texas, and that game was closer than the final score indicated. And I think Texas ultimately, I would probably tell you, was the second best team when we round it all up to Ohio State's one. Ohio State didn't have an easy path. You can't, again, Texas, we could talk about the path. Penn State, we can talk about the path. But you can't say that with Ohio State, and you have to give them a ton of credit in that capacity where their backs were against the wall and the response was three of the best performances in the history of Ryan Day's time at this program.
There is zero doubt about it. Ohio State is a national champion in the 2024 college football season. The Buckeyes victorious, standing atop the mountain in the first ever 12-team college football playoff. In the first ever college football playoff. At the time, the largest ever field in the chase for a national championship, Ohio State reached the pinnacle of the sport at the FBS level. Now, in the largest ever field, competing for a national title, the Buckeyes once again, this time under Ryan Day, atop the mountain once more. The Ohio State Buckeyes beat Notre Dame 34-23 in tonight's national championship game in Atlanta, Georgia. The Buckeyes cover as an 8.5-point favorite, and a total of 45.5 goes over. Continuing reaction from the national championship up next.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A 34-23 victory for the Ohio State Buckeyes in the first ever 12-team college football playoff national championship game. The Buckeyes outlast Notre Dame in what became a wild fourth and final quarter in a game that seemed to not have much life. We had some energy in the final 15 minutes or so. But at the end of the day, Ohio State stands atop the mountain in FBS college football once again. In the first ever college football playoff back in the 2014 campaign, the Buckeyes won a national title under Urban Meyer. His protege, now in 2024, in the first ever 12-team college football playoff, Ohio State crowned a national champ once again. A cover as an 8.5-point favorite tonight in Atlanta, and a pregame total of 45 and a hook does sky over. Lisi, as you look back on the wild 60 minutes that we just witnessed here on this desk together, what is one thing that stands out above all else?
Well, again, I just think the play calling offensively and defensively for Notre Dame put them at a disadvantage in certain aspects, right? And again, I'll credit Ohio State offensively. Dynamic. You talk about Will Howard, an elite performance, 17-21, 230 yards, right? Or 221 through the air, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kev talked about his performances against mediocre competition, right? And elite competition, and he didn't turn the football over. That's the biggest thing, right? Notre Dame feasted off of turnovers all year. They got the critical turnover, but by that time, they were already down by a huge deficit, right? They could never regain momentum after leading this matchup 7-0. And at the end of the day, Ryan Day and Chip Kelly and that defensive staff of Jim Knowles contained that offense. And that's the biggest thing for me, is that it was an all-around performance by Ohio State. You can't say that there was one thing that was weak tonight. They were on point. They put up 34-plus points. And it was just a subpar effort, I believe, out of Notre Dame's defense tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up over 400 yards of offense. Will Howard finishing in with 4 incompletions. You know, Notre Dame had a prayer, but
it seemed like 2 games, right? 2 different games. Like, it was just weird.
I just
covering it.
You know, Notre Dame ran for 44 yards on their opening drive. They finished with 53.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you know, all right, well, we know what went wrong here, right? I mean, it's really bad. But I got to say, it's an odd feeling right now for me. The way the game was playing out early on didn't feel like our night. So I don't sit here as devastated as, prior instances, ultimately. What I do, feel in this moment is we've finished the 12-team format in its first year. And let's hope we never see it under this format ever again. It is atrocious, and it's undeniable. Nobody actually likes it under its current construction. And there is one other element that I've not been able to get into a lot, that if I could just... The national championship was played between a team that's not in a conference and another team that did not make their conference championship game. We do need to get rid of conference championship games. They don't mean anything. They mean absolutely nothing. I know that, like you always, I always appreciate when you tweet out about college football rivalry, the trophies that they have. Let's make those matter a little bit more. When Iowa and, Iowa State go to head, or whichever, the pig battle is. I mean, like.
Florida Rosedale.
Yeah. Do that. Because the conference championship games mean nothing, right? Nobody who won a conference championship game, right, ultimately, we got into something better. Arizona State would have still been in without the automatic berth. The committee put them at 12. Clemson got in. The committee didn't think they were worth the spot. Oregon got the most difficult path. Penn State ended up getting the easiest path. Then Texas, the second easiest path. Boise didn't win a game. It didn't give us anything. You know what it did do, though? And this, I think, is a legitimate complaint of expansion. It pushed things back so far, so unnecessarily far. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, we all love what we do here talking college football. Let's be honest, the buzz going into Ohio State versus Notre Dame could have been a lot bigger. And I think some of that is we just came off of the divisional round, which is often known as everybody's favorite NFL weekend. And you could say, oh, what a great 3 days of football, but people are a little exhausted. People watched. We had a great time. But you want to always give your sport the chance for the most prominent stage, and you don't also ever want these things to become a war of attrition, right? Like you could also say, for Ohio State and Notre Dame, getting that extra time off was a benefit for them. And at the end of the day, that change that I'm speaking about, I know isn't coming, but I'm not going to act like it shouldn't come. I don't know if anybody disagrees with me, but I think we need to get rid of conference championship games as soon as possible.
Listen, there are going to be some changing philosophies within college football at the power conference level, G5 level, as we go through expansion throughout the years that we will have it. An expanded format, the largest ever field in the hunt for a national championship, requiring the most wins ever necessary to be crowned a national champ. And Ohio State does exactly that. To Kev's point, there has already been some conversations between college football playoff leaders about what we are going to do with the seeding format. Are we going to be giving out those opening round buys and the automatic bids to conference champions? How will conferences internally deem those conference championships to not hurt a team's potential path, like SMU potentially this year, losing in the ACC championship game, and how they decide to construct their own conference title games moving forward? I would just say I do believe the first year of 12 was a resounding success. I thought we saw it throughout the semifinal round and even in a more competitive national championship game that had some drama in the late game moments that we really did not expect in the first 48 minutes or so inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Expansion made games in the regular season be more significant, and it allowed opportunity. An opportunity that Ohio State and Notre Dame, frankly, never would have had to contend for a national championship. Buckeyes, guys, the first two-loss national champ in college football since LSU back in the 2007 season, just the third ever in the AP era, which dates back to 1936. A final thought or two on the other side of the break here on SportsGrid.
Monday, Ohio State looks to overcome the luck of the Irish as Notre Dame eyes the trophy.
I can't even contain myself.
SportsGrid has you covered for the national championship. Start with Coast to Coast at 3 p.m., followed by game time decisions for last-minute picks. And stick around for in-game live all night for real-time betting action. Stay tuned to SportsGrid, your home for championship coverage.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live right here on College Football Today's final rendition for our in-game live game day CFP National Championship Game special on SportsGrid. For one final time throughout the 2024 college football season, now in the calendar year 2025, he is the mastermind of the college football pigskin. That is Joe Lisi. He is OK Dubs. That is Kevin Walsh. And I am Ben Stevens. In the first ever year of the 12-team college football playoff, Ohio State is a national champion, outlasting Notre Dame 34-23 tonight inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium to be crowned a national champ in Atlanta, Georgia. Ohio State covers, as an 8.5-point pregame favorite. A total of 45 and a hook does go over. It is a new era in college football. We saw conference realignment in a very large way this year. We saw the largest ever field compete for a college football playoff national championship in the history of the sport. And we will continue to see changes entering next year, except maybe at the top, as the odds makers expect, entering the 2025 college football campaign, of course, with a national champion to be crowned in 2026. Ohio State will look to run it back as the national championship favorite entering next year, Kev. But it's Arch Manning's time now in Austin, and the Texas Longhorns not far behind.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of excitement around Arch. We didn't get the Heisman. Oh, did we? Oh, we did. Oh, my gosh, we got the Heisman odds.
They have everything up now.
Arch isn't the favorite, which is stunning to me. And the guy who is makes me think that he was, and then you got into town and started clicking numbers because it's Garrett Nussmeier of LSU who checks in as the Heisman.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, Nick Anderson comes over from Oklahoma. Aaron Anderson's there. Now, obviously, the off-the-field situation with Kyron Lacey, take him out of the equation. But you talk about legitimate playmakers at every level. Caden Durham, the running back, returns. They lose Mason Taylor. You want to talk about weapons. I think LSU, from an offensive perspective, veteran quarterback, speed on every level. Barrion Brown comes over from Kentucky. I mean, no? 20-1, I think, is great. Now, can Brian Kelly erase the critics? He's like Ryan Day now, all right? You won an SEC West title. That's out of the equation. You gave us the honey in year number 1. What are you going to give us in year number 4? 8-4 is not going to cut it. I don't care that you abused Baylor in a bowl game. I need you to make the college football playoff. We'll see if they could do it, but we talk value. 20-1 is right there. Clemson as well. The fact that they started to take in transfer talent, right? They get the defensive end from Purdue that came over.
Correct.
They got a bunch of transfers that have transferred over. Cade Klubnik, veteran quarterback. Just on paper, right? That's what they have. I'm not sold on Nico. Alabama, Milroe, Ryan Williams. Okay. What does Kalen DeBoer do in year number 2?
Right.
We talk value. And Texas, again, Texas is going to have talent. Arch is going to be there. Can Sark close the door? Right? It's just across the board, there's great value, right? Heisman is a different story because we have to see how some of these guys step up.
Yeah, for me, I'll just quickly say on the Heisman market, first time looking at it is there's a lot of movement that's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Because this thing's a mess right now. There's probably more value towards the top of the board than the back of the board because they're shorting John Mateer's 30-1. Cut it out.
Come on.
Did they book Cam Rising by chance? Cam Coleman they booked. All right. But, it's one of those, like Carson Beck's 18-1. That's not the appropriate number, I think. So you'd be better off grabbing your Nikos at 11s or I think, for me, Arch at 10 is actually a really surprising number there.
Where's Miller?
Yeah, he did the NFL draft.
Yeah,
you did miss that update.
I did.
That's all right. I know.
A lot of things happening.
I've been too involved in the NFL.
You've been refreshing photos of GoTigers.com. That's all right. Listen, I think this is an interesting spot though for next year because, as always, the quarterback position leads so much of that conversation, and you cannot overstate the excitement that will exist for Arch Manning to have a full season at Texas.
2 consecutive seasons now in college football. A Big Ten team has won a national championship. It marks the first time since 04-05 we have not seen an SEC team win a national title in a 2-year window in college football. And you look at those national championship odds for next season, 3 of the 5 best prices, 3 of the 5 prices in triple digits hail from the Big Ten, but still 6 of those top 10 numbers from the Southeastern Conference. We will see the landscape around college football continuing to change. That might be the only constant. He is the mastermind of the college football pigskin. That is Joe Lisi. He is OK Dubs. That is Kevin Walsh. I am Ben Stevens. And with everybody behind the scenes here at SportsGrid, we thank you for a great 2024 college football season. Until we do it again.